Everyone thinks it just comes automatically every day. Okay. Boker Tov on the 16th day of Shvat. We're getting closer to Purim. 4 weeks from today. 4 weeks from today is Purim Day. Okay, we're finishing up the third mimer in the Nesivos Shalom. And he's talking about this idea of the core to all the Midos. And we're now on Siv Osdalit, if I'm not mistaken. Al-Pi Hayesod Mavur. He was discussing Beetle. See, everybody talks about Beetle. So being an ayin, being a nothing. So it's based on this. And that'll be the source of it. If a person wants to fundamentally heal his evil midos, it's not enough to cut off the branches and the spoiled fruits that have grown from the bad midos. If you want to uproot it, you got to go after the roots. Because if you don't get rid of the roots, it all grows back again from the same roots. Right? You have weeds, you want the easy way, just mow it over. You want to get rid of it, you got to dig deep. I mean, that's what Hashem, you learn so much from agriculture. You have your lawn, you want to have a nice lawn. You got weeds. So just cut them off. That's easy, but they grow back. So therefore, you got to go after the roots. And what are the roots? You have to uproot from the inside yourself the somethingness, the I of the person. Shrosh Hamidos. That's the root of the Midos. And that's what makes them bad Midos, as we've described the last few weeks. It's through complete self-nullification as you're a nothing before him. As it says in the Kedushas Levi, Rav Levi Yitzchak of Berditchev, he says, Yodua, it's known, Shom HaKippurim ein mechaper rak at sheyachnis atzmo legeter ha'ayin. Yom Kippur does not bring atonement. Now kapara, right? It doesn't bring that until you bring inside yourself the definition of ayin, nothing. Shiyomer, the person has to say, Ani umash yeshiv kocha shli hakol hu laboris b'chshmo. Me and all that I have, all my power, it all is from and for Hashem. Then he cleaves to the attribute of nothing. And perhaps that's the whole intent of the Kohen Gadol, bows down, prostrates on Yom Kippur. We have the minhag as well. When you bow down, prostrate, he's showing symbolically, whatever I have is nullified before Hashem. It's all, whatever I got, nothing. I cannot stand before Hashem. Amida Hazos, this Mida, gotta now fill in the rest now. Hang on. Okay, Amida Hazos shall Beetle Yeshus, who Yesod v'Sherish shall derech Hasidus. This Beetle Hayeshus is the foundation and the root of Hasidus. The beginning of the service to Hashem is complete nullification to Hashem as the aspect of ayin, nothing. Then the bad midos just get nullified as well, and all the somethingness is gone. It's all part of the overall mitzvah that says, in all your ways you shall know him. Das hi bechinas dveikus. Says das, de'ehu. What's das is an aspect of dveikus, cleaving, as it says, v'odam yadam es chava. that Adam knew Chava. Means he was intimate with her. So in all your ways, all your ways should lead you to nullifying yourself and to clinging to Hashem. And once that happens, that's deeper pshat in B'chol, everything you do, you should be intimately aware of Hashem. That's how you get rid of the bad Midos. So that's where the game is won and lost. You know, all the self-help books on anger management, all that, it's just cutting the weeds. It's not rooting them out. You still got to remove that somethingness. Sooner or later, you learn it. And as you get older, you start learning it. You see, you're falling apart. You're falling apart. You know, so you realize what kind of nothing you are, and you're heading to be even bigger nothing. And at the end of the day, when you leave this world, you're a complete nothing. But then you totally surrender to God's realm. And then you can become a big something. A big something. In the next world, no one's going to be foolish enough to think that he's Mr. Something. So the trick is to learn it earlier. This whole concept is that what Moshe Rabbeinu brings to the table. The Torah says he was the most humble on the earth. Why? You know why he was the most humble? Because he comprehended Hashem more than anybody else. More than anyone else, he knew more what Hashem's reality was. And by knowing that, because it says, and therefore he merited to be humbler than everybody. Because he knew he was a bigger nothing. He knew how big Hashem was. That's the real problem. We don't really understand how big Hashem is. We think he's a little bigger than us. You have no understanding what it means, big. So therefore, he was totally nullified. He knew he was a nothing. This is what Moshe said after the sin of the golden calf. When Hashem wanted to destroy the Jewish people, he said, Hashem, please save them. Vim ayin, and if not, wipe me out of your sefer. So now, the simple shot is, if you don't forgive them, you might as well wipe me out. But now we understand what the word ayin also means, nothingness. So perish. If you can't find a repair to the blemish of the sin of the golden calf, except through the aspect of ayin, of total hisbatlus, to be totally nullified before Hashem. If you can't find that, then wipe me out. Meaning to say, I will accept the midah for the entire Jewish people. In other words, if the only ticket for this sin is ayin, making ourselves nothing, then let me be the sacrificial korban. That's how he got their forgiveness. The Jews only got themselves in trouble with the golden calf because they thought they were somebody. They thought, we'll figure out our solution. We have a problem, we'll figure out a solution. Hashem said, who asked you to figure out solutions? When was the last time I asked you to figure out a solution? Did you figure out how to get out of Egypt? No. Did you figure out how to get out of the Kriyas Yamsuf? No. Did you figure out how to feed yourselves in the desert? No. So what are you guys able to do exactly? What are you able to do? You know what you can do? Get us in trouble. You bring us idol worship. That's what you brought us. So Moshe is saying the only way we can really get the ticket is ayin. Got to make yourself into a nothing. But remember, as we've said in the other classes, but now that you're a nothing, you could be a kli to reveal a Kadosh Baruch Hu. And that's the biggest something. That's the biggest irony in the world. Is you really make yourself into a nothing, you'll be a something. Because you'll be a vessel of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Ugedolam is Midos zu shalisbatlus b'chinas ayin, and so great is this midah of nullification as an ayin. Shafil midas arosh shekana ba'adam. Listen to this. Lorak mitzad hahergol mitzad sviva. That even the bad midos that you have acquired, not only from habit or from your environment, that we know, because people by nature like to follow their friends. But Elohema mushrashas b'dam mitzad hat. Let me see the right way to pronounce this. 1 second. 1 second. Mitzad hatorsha. V'kosha ma'od la'okran. But even the ones that are rooted in your blood, like you've inherited, and it's really hard to pull out. You know, when you pick up things from your friends, you could leave your friends, right? Certain habits, you could break certain habits. If you develop a bad habit, you could break the bad habit. But there's certain things in your DNA is a bad midah. It's mamish inside of you. And that's very hard to remove. So those things, with this midah of hisbatlus, you can repair even those. Because this is the aspect of higher tshuva. It repairs the essence of the person. He isn't anymore the person he was, but he's a new creation. In other words, when we're dealing with levels of teshuvah, there's so many aspects to look at it. There's the wrong behaviors. Okay, so you want to stop the wrong behaviors. For sure you want to do that. But still the roots are so challenging. And that means every time you have to stop a behavior, you feel this tension, right? You're a Baal Gaiva. So because you're a Baal Gaiva, anything your wife does, you read as disrespecting you.
Take it personally.
Everything she does, everything that doesn't go your way, you should be criticized, right? So you're going to say, okay, I'm going to work on, and therefore what happens? You yell and scream at her. Okay, I'm going to work on not yelling and screaming at her. Fool idiot. It's not going to help. It's not going to help. It could help for a day. It could help for 2 days. But there's only so long you could hold out. Those weeds are growing fast. So what am I going to do? You got to make yourself into a nothing. But people make a mistake. And the Yetzer Hara says, you think I'm going to let her treat me like a shmata? No, don't let her treat you like a shmata. Realize who you really are. You're really nothing.
You're shmata.
You're not a shmata. You're not a shmata. No, that's what you're not. That's your ego is speaking. When you're saying, I'm making myself into a shmata, that's pure ego. Because when you say that, you're saying, I don't want, because nobody wants to be a shmata. You have to say, I want to be a vessel of divinity. Doesn't that sound much better than a shmata? A rag? Throw the rag in the garbage. I want to be a prism that will reflect the light of Hashem in the most beautiful ways. But I have to remember that I got to clean myself out completely. When I clean myself out completely, a shmata is dirty and filthy. A beautiful prism is clean. And you polish it up. There's no dust on it, no dirt on it. But the prism knows it's nothing. But when you shine the light through the prism, that's Hashem's light. It brings beautiful colors. It's a big difference. We live in a world that is so something. Everybody's a something. Every idiot has a blog. And they send you their blogs and get insulted if you don't read their hush of stupidities. You know, so this is the society we're in. Everybody has an opinion. What opinion do you have? And you have to respect my opinion. No, I don't. The only opinions I respect are those that come from pure, unadulterated Torah. That's it. And I'm smart enough to know that I don't know a lot on my own. And that's the beauty. That's the beauty. And that's the real tshuva. Because what's the real tshuva? It's come back to the source. To come back to Hashem. To be the vessel of Hashem's divinity. That is tshuva. That is tshuva. Because that's all you're thinking about. Then all these narishkeit, oh, she disrespected me. It's terrible. I'm always the last one in the line. You're worried about, right? It's silly. It's silly. And you should look at yourself, how silly you are. I always say, why don't you take a movie, now with the videos on the phones, it lets you see how silly people are. It lets you see how silly people are. You know, a spouse would be very smart when their spouse is yelling at them, just video them. Video them and play it back. That's when you're a somebody, a fool. That's all you are. You're a big fool. But you don't have to say, well, so I'm going to be nothing. Yeah, halavai, you'd be a nothing. Halavai, if you could be a nothing, you'd be amazing. That's the trick. Yeah, question?
Yes. You mentioned before that certain bad Midos are actually embedded in your DNA.
Yes.
How did they come there in the first place?
Hashem put them there because he wants you to clean it out, and that gives them a lot of nachas.
But not everybody gets them.
Everybody's got a fault in their DNA.
Okay.
Everybody. It's not possible, except maybe Moshe. That's the only debate, if Moshe had it or not. There's a Michalowicz. You have to have it. Everybody's got it.
So that's the purpose for it.
It's to root it out. Create your reality. Make yourself. That's making yourself into an auto. Nasa auto. Let us make man. You're your partner in your own creation. That's Hashem is doing that. That's the whole point. And to have the satisfaction of knowing that you have made yourself. It's not only Hashem. And for whatever reason, Hashem gives everybody a different, unique problem.
So when we say we were made in the image of Hashem, meaning his Midos and all,
You have his 10 spheros. You have the 10 spheros that Hashem gave you, but they also can be, it's like nuclear energy, but you can be used in the wrong way too. And Hashem says, okay, you have a job with your 10 spheros. Now get the job done. Well, you gave me certain liabilities. Well, part of the job is to remove the liability. Get rid of it. That's part of the job. Why? Everyone has a different job. Why? That's only can ask Hashem that. That I don't know the answer to. Well, or Amor, now he finishes off. And based on everything, we can understand what Chazal say. Hakol b'schus hashtachavaya. Everything comes in the merit of bowing down, of totally, what's the word? Prostrating oneself, completely down. Look at all the historical events. Avram Yotza b'Shalom mehar Moriah. How did Avram leave Mount Moriah in peace? B'schus, in the merit, what it was, v'nishtachaveh, we will prostrate, and then v'nashuv aleichem, they'll come back to you. When they went up the mountain, first we're going to bow down to Hashem. Yisrael al nigel Mitzrayim, the Jews didn't leave Egypt. Only because they prostrated themselves. As it said back in Parsha Shmos, when Moshe gave the word, the people believed, they prostrated themselves. Next week's Parsha, the Torah was given to the Jews only in the merit of prostrating. And you will bow down from afar. Hagolios einon miskansos. The people in the exile are not brought back, but in the merit of prostration. Be on that great day. You talk of a shofar gadol. We'll blow the great shofar. Everyone's going to come back. And what? V'ishtachavu l'Hashem b'har hakodesh. And we'll prostrate ourselves on the mountain, the holy mountain. Atkan. That's the medrash. So Godel Erech Hishtachaviyah, see how great prostration is. Everything comes from prostration. But not just merely going down, but understanding what it means. When you prostrate, you mean I'm nothing. Because the goal of service Hashem and purity of Midos all comes through a Jew who nullifies himself before Hashem as an ayin. That's what the implication of prostration is. When you prostrate yourself, you express. Now we're going to have a little tricky time now. Hang on for a second, guys. Because here's the next page. Oh, what happened? Oh, there it is, right here. But this is not going to come out so good. So let me just make it bigger. It's way too small. Now, let's just do this. Oh, come on. Here we go. Give me a second here. One more. Okay. There we go. So what's the implication of prostration? Is still even a little too small, eh?
One more. That's good. Okay.
Feel like I'm the eye doctor. Better with or without? One second. Let's. I don't want that. Okay. Now we're good. So this idea of prostration is hispatlus hagemura lefanav yisparach. It's complete nullification version. Ubakach saying with that power, and with that power you can achieve all the lofty levels. To this level, only a Jew can reach this merit of purity of Midos. Through the hispatlus and the aspect of nullification for Hashem. Look at this last line. But in the non-Jewish world, even those who have good midos, it only comes from their human intellect and feelings. They can never get to the root of the midos. Doesn't matter. They can cover it up a lot, but they cannot get to the root. As long as you don't get to the root, you can fall. Only when you uproot the root to nullify the Hashem, no force in the world can move the person. Many people are very moral people. In the non-Jewish world, there are moral people, but they all have a price. That was the great story that we heard a number of years ago. I'm trying to remember which rabbi came. There's a rabbi who came to us. I don't remember which one it was. Maybe you have better memory than me. He was supposed to speak at a big conference. At a big conference. I don't remember all the details. A big conference, secular conference. But they needed certain motivational speakers, whatever. This was all hosted by Bill Gates. And he told them initially, I'm happy to speak, but I cannot speak on the Sabbath. So fine. But anyway, it turned out at the end, they only could get him for Sabbath. It's only worked out for Shabbos. So the guy said, sorry. So the guy said, the Gates said, listen, everybody's got a price. They give him a crazy amount. It was like to speak for 2 hours. So like, give him $1 million, Everyone's got a price. And the guy said, you don't understand, it's the Sabbath. I can't do that. I forgot the line that Gates said, but he marveled. He said, I never saw anybody that doesn't have a price. And you're richer than everybody else if you don't have a price. I don't remember the exact lashon he said. But imagine this Jew. It's okay, It's not, he didn't have to really be Michalowicz Shabbos, because he could have been in the hotel and just speak. He says, I can't be in a hotel for a secular thing on Shabbos. Just can't do it. So everybody's got a price. You know what? But that's only in the non-Jewish world. In the Jewish world, a person is capable. Now, I'm not saying there aren't Jews who don't have a price. I'm never saying that. But a Jew can reach a level that a non-Jew cannot reach because of the soul that we have. You have to remember, the non-Jews cannot be Kalim of Hashem. They cannot be the utensils that shine the light of Hashem. They cannot. We are the moon. What's the moon? What is the idea of Kiddush Levana? All we do, the moon is a stupid rock. They spent years to go to the moon. What did they find? A deserted rock. Deserted rock. It's mamish nothing. There's no life on the moon. There's nothing. It's just a rock. But look how much it shines at night. Because it's mavatal itself to the sun. Taka, the moon knows it's a nothing. Knows it's a nothing. That's why it can shine so much. That's why we count the years, the months by the moon. Exactly like that. So therefore, you're wondering what's going on with the United States. All these moral people. And I believe some of them from a goyish perspective are moral. From a goyish perspective are moral. But they all got a price. Enough money, enough sex. You'll do whatever they ask you to do. And you'll lie. And you will destroy your country. And this is the moral people. These are the moral people. Well, a Yid will never do that. A Yid who's reached his level, then he can uproot it and he can become that vehicle. So it's so hard when you live in a world, you don't see anybody living like that. That's why you got to go to a tzaddik. You got to see a tzaddik who lives that way. And there's no price for these people because you know why? Because they're connected to Hashem. If you can be that light for Hashem, there's nothing worth more. You know you're worth nothing. The problem with Bill Gates is he doesn't know that he's not worth nothing. He thinks he's worth something, but he doesn't realize that he's less than nothing. And the Jew that's nothing is something. That's the point. And that's the key point. That's where you have to win and lose the battle. Yes.
So where are the converts fit into this?
Where the converts?
I know we've been through this before many times, but where do they fit into this?
Well,
since they don't have what the Jewish people have.
So there's two answers. Either that their real soul is a Jewish soul and they didn't realize it, and it's being revealed for the first time. You know, you can get through, you know, there were people at Sinai, the non-Jews, there were some non-Jews who wanted the Torah, but they got drowned out by the masses who didn't want it. So, and their souls go through the world, and it's really a Jewish soul that ends up in a non-Jewish body. A Jewish soul is Gilgal. There were no Jews to begin with. It was just the people of this generation, the flood, this and that. And a lot of souls came into Mitzrayim, and Jews purified them and became Jews. Where were they Jews from? They accepted the Torah at Sinai. That's conversion. It was conversion. But where were those souls originally from? It was from the beginning, from the flood, from this and that had to become Jewish. So you could have certain souls of non-Jews who wanted the Torah, but they couldn't get it because their country didn't allow them to. But they want it, so their souls floating around. So you got a soul with a potential that ends up in a non-Jewish body, but the guy really realized he wants to be Jewish. So there is the Jewish soul that is recognized for the first time. That's one way of looking at it. It always was a Jewish soul. We didn't know that it was Jewish. In potential. Or you could say that if you accept being a Jew, God puts into you a Jewish soul. When you come out of the mikvah, God puts into you a Jewish soul.
At time of conversion, that happens.
When you go into the mikveh,
Yeah.
and at that point you come out, a new soul comes out with you. Okay, we finished the third essay. Mirza Hashem, we start the fourth essay dealing with our own person. See, you see, it's so interesting. He's not really talking about any Midos. That's the whole point. He's not talking about anger. He's not talking about laziness. It's just once you become a vessel of Hashem and you're nothing, then it all comes together. Then just need the how-tos. That's all. Okay, Yeshu Koach, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Have a good Erev Shabbos. We'll see you all a little bit